This is the ABQ Business Podcast with your host, Jason Rigby. Each week we'll interview visionary business leaders to inspire the creative power and spirit that's in every entrepreneur. Discussing strengths, weaknesses, strategies, systems, and the problems we can all solve together for a new future for local small business.
Hey guys, this is Jason Rigby, ABQ Business Podcast. Super excited. I'm a little out of breath, Laura, because of you.
Just had your butt served to you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I just got done working out, and Laura is the founder of Dash 121. This was the vision that you came here in Albuquerque, and it's like such a. I kind of want to get into the gym, and then we'll get into you if that's fine, because I'm like super excited about it. It's like a dream to be able to work out by yourself in a gym, you know, especially if you're like a busy professional.
Right.
And how did you start thinking about it? Because I know how long have you been in fitness for?
Oh my gosh. You're going to make me do this. Let's say 30 plus years.
30 plus years.
Yes.
You've been in fitness. Wow.
I've been in the fitness industry.
And
yes.
and we'll get into that a little bit more, but you were a bodybuilder too, right?
Yes. Used to compete.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yes.
Here in Albuquerque?
Yes. And traveled all over where the competitions were.
And so all of a sudden you're like training, obviously you're a trainer, and you're thinking in your head, there's this gym that I want to start that would be unique and different from any other gym. Right. When did you start thinking about it?
Well, let's put it this way. I used to be in the corporate world, corporate sales, hated it.
Right.
And while I was competing, all the time people would ask me, how do you do this? Or how do you lose weight for this? And I really realized I had a passion for it. So I quit my corporate job and decided I wanted to do personal training. I really wanted to help people on a professional level. So not to toot my own horn, but I was the very first female personal trainer in Albuquerque. I became a trainer before there were even certifications for personal training. Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I just wanted to help people, and it kind of grew from there. So I opened a personal training center.
Right.
And to see how it would take off, I wanted to provide people with a more private, intimate environment than the gyms, but to where we could really focus on them and getting them results. And it's very hard to do in a busy gym.
Right.
So that gym really took off. It was the very first one. Everything that you could do in business wrong, I did.
Yeah, because you're just focused on the training side.
I've got to do this. I've got to do that. But taking that experience, and I ended up having to close the business due to a personal tragedy. I met a man, Anthony Trujillo, who co-founded this with me. And I actually was training him and helped him lose over 100 pounds.
Wow.
And he asked me, he said, Laura.
Is that who's in the gym right now?
Yes.
Oh, over 100?
Over 100 pounds.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes. And I actually knew him way back from my competition days too. So he said, if you could do it again, what would that look like?
Right.
And that was where the concept of what we're doing right now came from. I said, I want a beautiful upscale facility with the top of the line equipment, but to be able to make it a private facility, which means it's not open to the public. As you know, when you're in here, Jason, it's you and your coach, and you've got the whole place to yourself. So we have such an arsenal to kick your butt with. But
Yeah, but I mean, just the equipment alone. Like, and you got it from...
So Techno Gym is our equipment. And this has just been years in the business of knowing, I've traveled to the trade shows, of knowing top of the line equipment. And they are by far top of the line. Matter of fact, they were just signed for the PGA. So they actually load up their semis and they take all of the equipment wherever the PGA is being hosted, because golf, fitness is such a huge thing. But Techno Gym just is superior equipment. They think of everything.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, even like I was doing the leg raises, and the way that it shifts or moves, is that for your joints?
Yes, it protects your back and your joints so you can get a full contraction of the muscle without having to stress the joints and the soft tissue.
That's crazy.
Working the muscle to the fullest, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. So you begin to think of this idea. You are working with Mr.
Anthony Trujillo.
Yeah, yes. Anthony Trujillo, and then now I know you. It had to take a lot to be able to. So was the gym built, or did you start working with him to build? Because the gym has got to be. I mean, there's a lot of money in this gym. It's probably it's the nicest gym in Albuquerque.
It is. It's something that you will never really see in New Mexico or in the Southwest. A lot of these are popping up throughout the country because people don't have a lot of time to work out.
Right.
They don't want to waste time waiting for equipment. I'm sure you've experienced that in gyms where massive amount of people go and you've got to wait for equipment and really can't get. I say an effective workout. I don't want to spend hours in a gym.
Right.
So I want the most bang for my buck. I want to get the best thing that I need for it and then get on with my life. So we really cater to, I call it executive fitness. People that don't have a lot of time know they need to do it. Let us take the guesswork out of it and get you back to doing what you do best, running your business.
No, that's perfect. We're going to pause real quick and cut that. We have a wash and dryer in here. So
oh my gosh, I totally forgot about that.
So this being like probably state-of-the-art top gym in New Mexico, what gave you the vision? Because I know it looks like you have two different big rooms. So you have like a HIIT room and then with kettlebells and all that.
Right.
And what's the big ladder thing?
So one of the rooms that you're talking about, we call our functional training room, because functional fitness is imperative in a workout. A regular workout, you think about, you're on a piece of equipment. It maybe does one or two movements, but you're stuck on this piece of equipment. We want to incorporate what functional is, and that's where you have to use your body weight. You have to use balance and flexibility. So it's called a Queen-X, and it's actually another piece of equipment that comes from Italy, to where every part of it is usable. I mean, if you wanted to do monkey bars on this thing, you can do it. But we do a lot of suspension training from it. The functional training area gives us a huge floor to be able to do circuit, and as you've probably experienced, HIIT style training as well. So without having a lot of equipment in your way.
Right. Yeah, I know. And that's something that is so unique. I know even the way that you guys start off with me stretching. And so why are most people stretching wrong?
So part of it is, and you bring up a really good point.
Fix this for you. There you go.
Okay. You bring up a really good point. We start you off with what we call an active dynamic warm-up. A lot of, and I hate to say this, even people in my industry, they'll throw a client on, go get on the treadmill, let's get you warmed up. Well, that may get blood flowing, but that doesn't get the soft tissue and the joints moved and prepare the spine for a workout. So doing an active dynamic warm-up that we do with you actually incorporates that. Our whole goal is safety and injury prevention. And
right.
And I think, as you can probably attest to, is working out here, you probably are very sore, but you probably haven't had anything hurting you.
Exactly, yes.
That's our job. That's our job, is to protect you, to do it safely. So you do an active dynamic warm-up, and then in between your exercises, then we do what is called active recovery, which is a flexibility move, something that you're not just sitting there resting, because as we age, we lose flexibility, we lose balance. And so our goal is to keep that incorporated in your workout and keep you going with that.
Yeah, and most of my listeners are entrepreneurial. They're real busy. They're working 40 plus, maybe 60, 80 hours a week. So to be able to schedule it in, to be able to have the right time, to be able to take the time, because I know this gym is kind of mainly geared for entrepreneur, professional people, because of the price points and stuff like that, and the amount of training that you do. I know you do supplements, and you go over, you did a complete food plan for me.
Absolutely.
And we'll get into that here in a little bit, but if you're a business owner, entrepreneur, executive, why does it seem like we take our fitness and put it on the back burner, last, especially when we get in, because things change when you hit 40.
Sure. Wait till you get to my age. But if you think about this, it can be really daunting. We all hear it as even executives. Okay, you've got to do cardiovascular. You've got to do stretching. You've got to do weight training. Well, when you don't have a lot of time, that's so overwhelming. And so what's the natural path?
Yes.
Forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
So if in 50 minutes, if we can give you everything that you need in 50 minutes and get you back on your day, that's what's, I think, appealing to people.
Well, what's nice is, you have beautiful bathrooms with showers and stuff like that. So, everything can be, it's all new too. So that's, I started when you guys were still doing construction. Yeah. The gym was done, but the bathrooms and stuff, so that's absolutely, especially when you look at, because I know it's more than, and you've told me this, it's more than coming here, and busting my butt for 50 minutes. And I've realized I've done more, here, and your trainers have pushed me more than I thought that I could do. Right. And like you said, I'm sore, but I haven't had any injuries. But when we get to the food component, because I think that is probably something where you're doing business lunches, and, for me, one of the things I had to learn that you taught me was, you can do a business lunch and have, a beer, but maybe go a lighter beer, not an IPA that I was drinking all the time. Right. When it comes to food, what are some of the things that you're seeing, busy executives, we're just constantly eating bad.
What I see is, because you're busy, believe it or not, you probably don't eat enough. And when you and I met, that's one of the things that I found out with you is you would go long periods of time without eating.
Yeah, intermittent fasting.
Yes.
Yeah, which was killing me. Yeah,
exactly. And so, we have to include nutrition, and that's what we wanted to do when we designed this. Is a lot of facilities, what I call it is nickel and dime people. You go in, okay, you need personal training because you need to understand how to work out. Well, there's a cost for that. There's a membership fee. Oh, you need nutrition. Well, there's a cost for that. When we built this, I said, I want it all inclusive because it all has to be a part of it.
Right.
You have to have all these components, but let us take the guesswork out of it for you. So that's why we include nutrition. We include everything, including, we haven't really talked about it, but our Fit 3D body scan. So in order for us to actually design a workout, I got to know everything that's going on with your body. And I think when we saw your scan structurally, we already started to see some things that were changing that we need to fix. So if we just go, okay, great, Jason, you're going to come and train with us. Let's start hitting some weights. But I'm not correcting or fixing things that need to be fixed on you so that you don't continue to have problems down the road.
Right. Yeah. Let's get into this because it's really cool. So you had me stripped down to my underwear, and then
they were very cute, by the way. No.
And then they have like a big black. You guys have a curtain. At
Very
the time I did
yes.
it, there was no curtain, but
you were brave. You're a brave boy.
Yeah. And so then you have a curtain. And so what is the machine? It's got to be expensive. I know that.
It is. Yeah. It's a very expensive piece of equipment, but why I wanted it more than just some of these analyzers that just give you body composition. This machine actually gives you a full 360 3D image of yourself. And for me as a woman, sometimes I very rarely look
right
behind. So that was even, I'm in shape, and that was eye-opening for me. But why I wanted this machine was the complete body composition, to know how much muscle you have, how much fat you have. But I wanted to see the structure. This gives me a complete posture analysis. So yes. We can, we're all into this technology world experiencing the effects of that, and what I call kyphosis, where the shoulders are starting to round forward.
Yeah, kind of go like this, and I got a mouse in my hand.
Yep.
Yeah,
and people have lower backs are hurting them all the time. So those are things that we've got to correct and help you be able to do your job, but not have all the aches and pains. And so seeing that tool is powerful. And then every time we do the scan, we can put you side by side and compare. So you may come to me and say, well, Laura, I've only lost 10 pounds. Okay, Jason, well, let's look at this. You've lost 15 pounds of fat, but you've gained 20 pounds of muscle.
Yes.
And look at your body changing.
Right. Yeah, and that's what I've noticed. I mean, I can notice like around my waist,
yep.
it was the biggest, because I had tire around my waist. I mean, I'm a bulky guy, kind of a bigger guy. Yeah,
got a lot of muscle.
So, but my weight has stayed the same, but I've noticed my waist has gone down.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So and I always say, who cares what we weigh if the structure, the composition is different?
Right.
We get so hung up on this massive number. I shouldn't say massive, but one number,
right.
And we don't know what that number is comprised of. And when you lose weight, every time you step on the scale, well, you don't know if you've lost muscle. Our goal is to keep as much muscle on our bodies for as long as we can.
And so what I was doing, what most entrepreneurs doing, I would go to a business meeting lunch, or a late afternoon meeting. I would eat bad, drink a couple beers, and that would be my meal for the day.
Right. Starve yourself.
Because and then I thought, oh, okay, I kind of ate bad or had a couple beers, so I don't need to eat dinner. And then it was like, sometimes it worked out, sometimes I didn't, type of a thing. And one of the things that I liked about what it was like eye-opening to me, and you'd said it, is I wasn't eating enough, and then I wasn't having any protein.
Right.
And I just saw the other day they came out with the study where they did like 35 different animals and then humans too. And they said, like protein is, what we need. And most, animals are getting it, from the wild and stuff like that, but most people aren't. And I know you have, I know you're plant-based. And how long have you been plant-based for?
Over 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
And trust me, when I was competing, I did all the animals, everything you do in a competition diet, and had to kill myself with cardio, to get in competition shape. So you bring up a good point about protein, because I want to elaborate a little there. We do need protein. Protein is, but we as a country are way over proteinized.
Oh, okay.
We sometimes take in too much protein.
Well, yeah, because we're eating a big steak, and then we're having, and then maybe in the evening time we're having a chicken breast. So that's what you're talking about.
Exactly what I'm talking about. When people don't realize how much protein is in the plant kingdom. So, for example, we get all the botanicals, all the phytochemicals from plants, but we get fiber. which we don't get from animals.
Right.
So huge amount of protein from plants, and people don't realize that. So when I started down this path, everybody would say, well, Laura, you're going to lose all your muscle. I'm actually more muscular now than I was when I competed. I stay lean all year round.
Right.
And, all I do is walk for cardio.
Really?
Because it's
So I mean, because you always have, and I've noticed that your trainers have said that you work out with them, or you guys do a workout. So I mean, that's something too. All your trainers are working out, and you're working out with them.
Yes.
Which a lot of places they're just paid for hire.
Exactly.
Tons, and you don't know the philosophy. So that's something I want to get into, because I know business leaders. One of the biggest things I was worried about was injury.
Right.
And we kind of hit on that. And if I'm going to work out hard, which I am, I'm working out harder here than I've worked out since I was in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
So yeah. So I'm working out. I mean, I'm sore for like till the next exercise.
To the next time, right?
Which is good. I like being sore. But like what more philosophy do you have, like when you're dealing with your trainers and stuff like that, and you're looking at somebody that may be 40 plus years old?
Right. So part of it is, again, safety first.
Right.
So I want to make sure that any coach that I have is first and foremost is the client's safety. What people don't understand is lifting heavy weights, the muscle only contracts to a certain point. Then what kicks in is probably leverage, because we're having to use other body parts to assist with the weight, and soft tissue and joints. So, and you've probably experienced it. You probably lift lighter than what you probably lifted before.
Yeah, I had 12.5 pound dumbbells doing curls.
Right.
And I couldn't do the last thing that he had
Exactly.
me do. Yeah.
So it's lighter weights, higher reps,
Right.
pushing the muscle to the fullest without using anything else but the muscle that we're working. So that's a hard concept, especially for men. And I hate to say, but I can lift this or I can bench that. Well, who cares if you're injured,
Yes.
or you're not seeing the results from it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and that's something that men have to get, because a lot of things that you're sharing with me and that I've been doing, but I've seen the results. I mean, I've only been doing this, 2 or 3 months, but I'm seeing dramatic results. But it seems opposite of what we're told or taught. Like I need to eat a ton of meat, I need to push pull lots of big heavy squats.
Right.
And maybe when you're 20 you can handle those things. But I don't think I've done a barbell exercise here. I'm trying to think, maybe the squat thing, but I like the little triangle squat thing. But other than that, I don't think I've done like a big.
Yeah. And part of it is, there's a reasoning behind that too, is we like to work the body unilaterally. So when you've got a barbell per se, the weaker side of the body is always going to stay weaker because the stronger side is going to take over. So doing unilateral, where you're working each side individually, you'll see much better progress with that.
Yeah. And then I noticed on the scan, the 3D scan that you gave me, like my right side, I like favored that side, and my left side was a little bit weak. Is that what you're talking about?
Exactly. So when we can see those deficiencies, it could be past injuries and stuff that you don't realize that you've favored. Right. So let's get the weaker side strengthened and caught up to the stronger side. And that's how you do it. You won't do it if you're working each side equally.
Yeah, but I mean, because I think there's a core component with all this and your philosophy here, because I know you're looking at total health. And when we get into food, and one of the things that and this is kind of like a quick tip, and when somebody sees you, because they'll be able to see you. Now, what is the best way? Because I'll put do you have like if somebody's interested in Dash 121, is there a website or a phone number?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it's dash121.com.
Okay.
And our phone number is 505-916-0950.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep. So that's real easy, and they can get a hold of you.
Get a hold of them. We can. What I love to do is to set up, and there's no charge for this. I love to set up a private tour and consultation for people, so they can see what we have, see the facility, what we have to offer, and then how our approach is to this, and getting you the results in half the time that it would take you trying to figure it out on your own.
I like it too, because you would never know there's a gym here.
I know.
It's kind of like what I was in Vegas, and there was like this. You go to, I think they're like speakeasies or something like that.
Yes, I know.
There's like a convenience store look,
right?
And then you walk in there, and there's this really nice restaurant.
Right.
It's kind of the same deal.
Unfortunately, we're one of the best kept secrets, but it's done by design. We will have some signage out front, but it is you have a key to get in. I mean, our members, it's that private. I don't want this open to the public. You've got to be a member. You've got to be under the tutelage of our fitness coaches, and we all work together as a team. I think I told you, I said, you're going to have your coach. You may end up with a couple coaches.
Right.
It's based on your schedule, but we all meet about the clients. We design the workouts for the clients. I know what's going on with you, even when you're not training with me. And I did that by design, so that life is always going to get in the way. I may have a trainer that's, sick.
Right.
Well, why should you miss your workout? You're not. You're going to, and you're going to get the same workout and the same amazing experience with a different coach.
Yeah, and that's something that I noticed whenever, because I have two.
You do?
Yeah, I have two, and so it's like, and plus you get like different. They each have kind of like a different personality.
Right.
Yeah, which I love.
Right.
So one is more like positive and conscious thinking, which I love all that stuff.
Right.
And then the other one's more like. I was in the Marine Corps, more military. So it's just really cool to be able to get both and be able to have that. And I haven't done the HIIT part yet. I've just been doing, cause I don't know if I could handle being so sore, but we're going to be doing that soon. But, so whenever you're looking at, somebody that comes in, so maybe, they go to the website, they sign up, cause I want to kind of walk people through the process.
Okay.
And you had said it's going to be private, and that's the thing. It's very private.
Right.
So if you're an executive, because like for me, that's the part I love, because I don't mean to be mean, but I deal with people all day long.
Sure.
So I don't want to go to a packed gym. I don't want to have to wait for a machine. I want somebody to push me.
Right.
Which all of your trainers do that. Big time. Yeah.
Right.
In a good way. So they come here. They're going to meet you out in the front. There's a key lock, so, and when you come in, the cool part is, you have it really nice and set up. So that first one would be meeting with you.
Yes.
And then you're going to go through and give them a tour.
Talk about, what their goals are and so forth, what we can do for them. And then we get them set up on the intake. And we do an extensive intake, as you experienced too, because I got to know everything about you. And it's all done through software based. I got rid of the old trainer clipboards and piece of paper. So we've got a very extensive intake, including your scan. So that now the work starts. Now we're on our end. We start, okay, now let's start designing this program for Jason and what Jason's goals are. And
I loved it. And it was very, like, the intake was very, and I would encourage everyone to be open and honest about it, open and honest about yourself.
Right.
Because you can't help if I'm saying, I don't have this problem, or I don't have this problem, or this or that. That was like one of the things when I came in, I was like, my knees were, bothering me. And so you guys began to build the muscle around my knees. And so now my knees aren't as painful as they used to be.
Right. And I don't know if you remember when you came in, I said, let me just see how you do a squat. And you just stood up and did a squat. And right away, those knees jetted over the toes. And I'm like, number one, you're quad dominant. We need to build those glutes and those hamstrings, get you back onto your heels. Those are things that we look at. There's reasoning behind what we do in order to help the client. But that's the beauty of this is we're results driven. And that's, I would say, the biggest difference than most facilities. I don't care about having thousands and thousands of people in here. I want results for every client.
And that's the scan shows all that.
Oh yeah.
So that's the beautiful part, and I know a lot, because a lot of people have gone through yoga classes and TRX training and, jiu-jitsu training. The list goes on and on. You always want to try this newest thing.
Sure.
What do you look at when somebody's wanting to make, like for me, I was like, okay, I'm 47. I need to make a lifestyle change.
Right.
How do you encourage people to have the motivation, or how do you have the motivation to be so disciplined?
Well, I think doing it as long as I have it, just maybe something that I was born with. I love helping people and being a health coach, which is something kind of new to the fitness industry, because I do a little bit more than just, okay, we're going to do your workout. Health coaching is where we really get into a lot of psychological things of what derails people, what keeps getting in the way of Jason getting the results, or making a commitment to your health. But it's not about belittling people. It's about giving you the tools that you need and the support that you need. And every time you come here, it's good. It's got to be fun and exciting, so that you don't get bored. Like, God, I can't wait to see what's going to happen today.
Well, I'll share with the experience I just had with Dwayne. I've been having such hard time like getting through the workouts, not because my muscles necessarily, the breathing part, So and then we've been talking about it, and he's been helping me, breathe extraction and all that. And then I've been thinking about it a lot. Like, and then I'm sitting at my desk and I was noticing myself, hunched over and all that. Right. And then I noticed myself like taking these quick, short breaths all the time.
Right.
And like sometimes when it would be in a stressful situation, I would hold my breath. Like I got to fire somebody or, I got something going on. And I'm just sitting there so tense all the time. So when I'm here on and you would probably, maybe you could talk about this, but so when I'm doing the workout, I could get 10, 12 reps in, muscles are fine, but I'm like feeling lightheaded and like I'm not breathing properly,
Right. And that's what we really teach people is how to breathe, how to get more oxygen. And it's deep breathing,
Right.
You talk about inhaling a lot through the nose and exhaling, but it is, I call it big belly breathing.
Yes. Yeah.
You've got to do that. So but you apply it to life. Like you said, I'm going to get ready to fire somebody. Let's take those meditative breaths. Let's get the body to calm down, and be able to handle it. So,
instead of sitting there so tense. And that's something I've noticed and that's that lifestyle part that transfers from the gym to your regular life. And so now if I can calm myself and not be so tense, that energy when that person comes into the room, however it goes, I know that I have that ability to be able to be calm.
And so what you're doing is you're keeping your stress levels low. Stress is the number one killer. So you're working out, you're helping to get the relief with that, but how do we apply it to everyday life so that we can keep stress under control? And some people may not, like you said, I didn't realize my shortness of breath or I bury stress. And
right.
Stress is going to manifest itself one way or the other. So it's going to come out in some kind of episode you might have, or your health's going to suffer.
Right.
So let's keep it all in check.
Yeah. And we're seeing that now,
oh my gosh.
With everything that's going on, people that have underlying conditions and people that are out in the weather and the sun, and enjoying, going for walks or whatever, or not taking vitamin D
right.
or supplements and stuff like that. Let's get into, because I want to kind of get into that a little bit. Because if you don't mind, kind of share a little bit of when we went through the whole process of supplementation. And I know you have this, and I've seen, so I have this sitting in my office because you had me do the oatmeal with protein powder in the morning.
Yes.
Which was awesome. And so I had the vanilla one and I just, put it in there, scoop it in with my oatmeal. Why did you decide to use Garden of Life over, because there's so many,
there are,
freaking supplements.
Right. And I want to be clear on this. I really want people getting their nutrition from food first,
right.
Whole food first. But we're busy lifestyle, so this is convenient. Why Garden of Life is because they're probably one of the only supplement companies that's governed by the FDA because of what they put on their labels. They're whole food, they're non-GMO, they're all organic. You can't put those statements on a product unless the FDA governs it. So when I was looking at different products, I looked at how their supplements were made, the doctors, the science that was behind it, 100% plant-based on everything and how they put everything together. I was like, this is amazing products. I've even had some doctors that I was training at the time look at them too, and they're like, yeah, this stuff is incredible. And it's all whole food, so it's
right.
not processed. Getting people, when you talk about a protein supplement, this is not whey. All of this comes from the plant kingdom in here.
Right.
And that's why it was like, Jason, we're going to kick your protein up, but it's still all from
right.
plants.
Yes. Yeah. And this right here, you have it here, but this is amazing. I do this. I don't know if I'm supposed to do it in the morning, but I do the apple cider vinegar and then I wait a little bit and then I just, because this doesn't even have a taste to it.
No, it doesn't.
You can put it in a little bit of water and just drink it down.
Throw it in. If you're doing a shake, I throw it in my shake every morning.
Oh, okay, yeah. Why are so many people's like gut flora and all that, and why are probiotics so important? Because I want people to get this. This is really interesting.
It's a great question, and also talking about probiotics, it's our diet. Most people have irritable bowel syndrome. Their food that they eat hurts their tummy all the time. I see so much where, and this is really personal, but where people don't have regular bowel movements,
right.
Very hard bowel movements, that's not good gut health. My goal is to get people having good gut health. If you think about this, when you have a baby and you feed your baby, what happens?
Yeah, they
your
grow.
baby poops.
Right.
Well, why does that change when we become adults? It's because of all the other stuff that we start taking into our body that's highly processed and not good for us. So when you're talking about the probiotics, we don't just need probiotics because marketing is so great that probiotics is the big thing now.
Yes.
So everything's got probiotics. But you want a product that has prebiotics because prebiotics are non-water soluble. They're going to carry the probiotics to the lower digestive tract so we can get the entire digestive system functioning properly and cleaned out. So what I tell people is we should be eliminating at least 5 to 6 times a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
5 to 6 times a day.
When you eat, you
yes,
poop.
Yeah. And so, yeah, if we're eating these small meals, or like you had set it up, with me, you work through, we dissect how my day was in the office. So, I have these certain bars that I use, and it's amazing how when you go from intermittent fasting or being so busy, you're just eating once or maybe twice, and you're eating late at night and you're not really caring, to doing the 5 or 6 meals. What I've noticed is my energy level.
Absolutely. And also, you're in here working your butt off to gain muscle. That's your goal. All of us want to have more muscle. But what do you think is the quickest source of energy if our body's not getting it from nutrition that we're, feeding ourselves? It's getting it from muscle glycogen. So we're in here working so hard for it, yet we're catabolizing it because we're not fueling our body to get it from food. I want to keep my muscle. So put the food in our body that's going to give me that.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so, I mean, as far as like when you're looking at supplementation, so you see a lot of people taking supplements, but then their meals are horrific.
Right.
And they're not eating well, and they're hoping that a supplement. And what you're saying is the opposite of that, because you're not just pushing supplements.
No.
What you're saying is, let's get your diet fixed. Let's go over that. Let's make sure that's good.
Right.
Because we can do what we can do for the 50 minutes in the gym, every week. But as far as seeing the results, it has to be.
It is. It's, they say 80, I say it's 90% of the equation. You cannot exercise off a bad diet. I don't care how hard you try. So let's get the nutrition in check. And the biggest thing that I see and what I really help people with is inflammation.
Right.
Things that we ingest in our body that creates inflammation keeps us storing fat, keeps us low energy. So let's get rid of those things that create inflammation and put things back into our body that our body needs for fuel, needs for energy, needs for growth and repair.
Right. And let's get into just a couple things before we close, but I want to get into women over 40, and then we'll get into men if that's fine. What are some of the things that you're seeing women over 40 that are doing, that's wrong, that's hurting them?
And I speak from a woman's standpoint as well, because women are so hard on themselves. And when we want to lose weight, the first thing we go to is starving ourselves. The worst thing that we can do. Women don't have regular bowel movements. Hormones play a big part in women, and especially at 40, the hormones take a big dump. So what we want to look at is making sure getting women's hormones balanced. I work with practitioners, and you and I were talking about that earlier, about making sure that our hormones are at optimal level, and then giving our body the proper fuel that it needs to keep the hormones at optimal level. So that's, I think, the biggest thing is to get women eating more,
Right.
They go a long period of time. So all that does is slow our metabolism down, and our body freaks out saying, whoa, I'm in starvation. So hold on to my fat, because our body views fat as necessary. It's for insulation. It's for starvation. So again, we talked about muscle. Burn the quickest source of energy that I have on my body, which is muscle glycogen. So that's with women. That's the biggest thing I see is, I tell women, the more you eat, the leaner you'll get, and they just freak out on me.
They just can't handle that part.
No. And then once I get them there, they're like what you just said. Oh my God, I'm losing weight. I'm firming up, and I have so much energy. This is unbelievable. And I'm eating so much food.
Yeah, and because that's something I see, and I've heard a lot about, and there's so many people taking prescriptions for, so many issues, and we don't need to get into hormone side of things, but when we transition over to men, I know what I see with men, and I think for myself too, is just kind of grin and bear it. This is what you do. You're provider, I have to fight everything, I have to work 80 hours a week instead of working 50 hours and having more balance, and you actually get more done. Like whenever you have to deprogram a man, what is some of the things that you're seeing with that?
Gosh, that's such a great. I'm glad because actually you were one, and what
yes,
you just said
exactly.
is so true, Jason. It's that is the biggest thing. And it's so teaching men as how we can be more effective, that we don't have to conquer everything. And then the results are even better when we can show them that. And again, going back to it's hard, I think, sometimes to put yourself first. It feels very selfish.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
I say put yourself first, because then you're a better father, a better man, or whatever.
Right.
Because you're feeling better and you're able to handle things, take care of things. So it's not selfish. It's
no. And I think that's, because if you're not at a 10, physically
Right.
than, playing ball with your son or, a love life or whatever it may be. If you're not optimally where you need to be, then, everything suffers around you, and then you're tired all the time and you're using coffee or energy drinks. I mean, I was doing that too.
Right.
I don't need any of that.
I know. It's amazing when you can put good nutrition. And don't get me wrong, I love to live life. When you and I've had this conversation, I love wine. And that's one of the biggest questions that I get from people is, okay, well, this is all great. And they feel like I've got to give up everything. It's not. It's about creating balance too. I will show you how you want to have wine, or we talked about beer. Here's how we can have this in our life because we want to enjoy life without derailing your success.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I've actually found it hasn't been that big of an issue. I get tempted or whatever, but then I'm like, no, I'll have, because I love Dos Equis, and that's a lighter beer.
Right.
And we saw it has the IPAs have 3 times more calories.
Right. So we just made some adjustments.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fine. I'll have 1 or 2 beers when I go eat. I know I'm working out good. What I want to kind of get into at the end is, what is your vision for this place? What's your hope in, a year from now or 5 years from now? What are you really wanting to accomplish?
Oh, that's a great question. I think it goes back to why we even started this is I want to help as many people as we can live their optimal life at whatever age. It's never too late. I mean, I have seniors in here now that are, I don't want to have an episode. They come in with medical conditions that we are actually healing and improving through health and fitness and good nutrition. So to answer your question, our facility probably at its maximum can handle 100 people. If I could get, 100 members rotating all the time, I mean, that would be our goal for it, and maybe open up another location. But really for this facility, it is getting people like yourselves, getting especially busy executives, putting this back into their life, taking care of themselves, so that then they can do what they do best in running their business.
Yeah, and I want to, because I think the biggest issue that I face with this is, one, putting myself first,
right,
and then number 2 is my schedule. I have 4 different calendars, so so it was crazy, and it took me about 5 days to figure it out. But I told myself, number 1, and I encourage people, if they're looking at doing something like this, make yourself first, and then it's your ego that's sitting there saying that you need to be doing everything all the time and in every meeting. So I literally carved out, and you guys work with me, I carved out 2 times a week, 50 minutes. And I have been committed to that, because what I think if you don't commit, and I know you probably see that with some clients, they'll get all excited, but I committed, I'm doing this for 6 months. And then I'll see how I look and see if the program's working or not in the beginning.
Right.
I'm going to test the program, and I'm already seeing that it's amazing. But that's what I encourage people. If they're going to contact you, make the commitment to put yourself first.
It is, and it's a hard thing for us to do. But I want to point this out. You only work out 2 days a week, and look at the results that you're getting.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be this daunting, I got to work out every day. Now I have asked you, Jason, I want you moving your body every day, go for a walk, do something like that. That's, you don't have to be in the gym, but you gave us 2 days a week. So we're going to give you, like I said, the best bang for your buck and get you the results with 2 days a week. So people need to understand that 2 days a week, it's not that much.
But 2 days a week committed for a whole year, and look how many times you've worked out.
Yes.
In that year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
And I know, I'm going to work up to 3, and kind of do that. But one of the things that I want people to understand is, you're going to have an amazing experience. I can testify to that.
Thank you.
Every single one of your trainers, it's fun too. They all joke around and we have a lot of fun. So that's cool.
It has to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So when we close, how would somebody, once again, contact if they want to go to your website or call you and schedule?
I would probably say, do this. Take down my email. This is my personal email, and contact me directly. And it's Laura, Laura at dash-one-to-one.com.
Okay, perfect. And I'll put that in the show notes, and I'll put the website and all that.
Email me. Let's set up a time to meet. And
I encourage everybody, just go spend 30, 45 minutes with you, and then just kind of look at it from there. And
from that standpoint,
you can make the decision on that.
Absolutely.
Well, this was awesome. Thanks, Laura, for
Jason,
coming on. I know you're busy, so yeah.
And you too. I really appreciate you.
Yeah. This will be. I know a lot of people are going to learn some different things, and I know even if they don't want to be a part of this or anything like that, I know you've gave a lot of value in what they can do with their diets and their health and stuff. So I appreciate that.
Oh, and anytime. I'm glad to do it.
Well, thanks,
Thank you.
Laura.
It was an honor, Jason. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to ABQPodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.